So, just
Nandiyan pa? Sa lamesa? Sa lamesa?
Coco,
Pasensya na kayo mga
Coco,
nono.
for you,
Kasama
puppy.
ko, medyo buwa-buwa. Hindi kami marunong magpasensya. Ano na siya? Saan na? Kayo mauna! Eh, mauna kayo! Saan yun? Kayo mauna! Hindi muna! Kayo!
So,
更重要的一点其实是挑战自己，最后再真。The judge acted legally. Joey, is this a good situation for the prosecution? Who's to blame for this happening?
Listen, we can always blame anybody, John. At the end of the day, what you have is what you have. The judge had a decision to make with respect to the composition. I think clearly if you look at what happened here, as it related to the challenges that were used by the defense, I think they would use it in a way that was discriminatory. You have a number of peremptory strikes. I mean, you could strike jurors. They used them to strike the jury. And then those people have to be African American. Let's go back 1 minute. You have a population which is 70% white, 30% black, not even 25%. You have one black juror. That doesn't represent a demographic that is consistent with what I think should be just, proper, and legally tenable, quite frankly. And so, at the end of the day, if there's an acquittal here, I think you're going to hear people screaming about racial improprieties. I think you're going to hear people screaming about a system of justice that doesn't work for everyone. I think you're going to hear people screaming about, here we go again. And so I think the judge had a decision to make. I think there's more, to the fact in terms of the decision that he did make. I disagree with it. But we are where we are. And I'm just hopeful that we have a jury that listens to the evidence and that's compelling evidence and makes a decision predicated on that and not predicated upon race.
And the prosecution at this point has no recourse. This is done. This is good.
It is. So what's interesting about this is, as Paul will note also, is that this is a reverse challenge, right? Generally what happens is this. You have usually the defense arguing that the prosecution is in essence making a decision like that, right? In this particular situation, you have the defense making that argument. So I think it's a pretty interesting and unusual situation, but we are where we are.
Well, lawyers call it's called a reverse Batson situation. When the case first came down, if there was discrimination in jury selection and somebody got convicted, their conviction would get reversed and it would get sent back for a new trial. But here, it's not the prosecutors who are discriminating, it's the defense attorneys. So the only remedy would be for the judge to declare a mistrial and say, we're going to start jury selection all over again and we'll move it to another county. So there is a remedy that could be used, but you have a judge here who's evaluated each challenge that was given by the defense and said, well, when I questioned them about it, they have good reasons. Now, I agree with Joe, okay, that he's probably wrong on accepting those explanations that were given by the defense attorneys. But as a judge, he's allowed to make that determination, and it's very difficult to appeal that in a reverse Batson.
Yeah, what we call that is a pretext, right? We know the reason I'm striking you, but I can give a racially neutral reason. I didn't like you, your vibe was off, I didn't feel you could be fair. We could come up with 100 reasons as to why we struck you. I think the overwhelming reason as to why the defense did what they did is pretty clear. Particularly, not me talking, them talking with respect to, you heard the arguments, we want a bubba, right? Where are the bubbas for the jury? You heard that. They literally said that. Not me, this defense saying we're the bubba. And just to be clear, those are, white, non-college educated people. And wait a second, where are all they? And so if that gives us a window, and the reason I raise that, into the thinking and the mindset with respect to their actions. So don't tell me, notwithstanding the fact that you come up with 10 reasons as to why you struck someone, that it wasn't predicated upon race. Nonsense.
Counselor Joey Jackson, Paul Callum, thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. Really. So the other Joe in Washington that has everyone talking is calling last night's election result a wake-up call for Democrats, even as Biden's agenda is still up in the air. Senator Joe Manchin will join us live straight ahead. And this morning, a high-stakes hearing on Trump's effort to block the release of documents.
Aaron Rodgers said he was immunized against COVID, but he just tested positive, and it turns out he'd never taken the vaccine.
When communist forces from the north overran Saigon in the south, ending the Vietnam War. It had been officially divided for 2 decades. When the forces of Ho Chi Minh massively defeated the French at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954, 2 new countries were created, North and South Vietnam, separated by a demilitarized zone whose area we will cross by night. The zone was based on a similar one that was part of the ceasefire in Korea. Today, the demilitarized zone in Vietnam is a tourist attraction. People go to see the network of tunnels that was created by the Viet Cong. The DMZ in Korea is still in existence. So, are you from the north part or the south part of Vietnam?
I am from the north.
Hello.
Yes.
The way you speak in the north and the south, the language, is it the same or different?
Yeah, I speak in the north language. The south is different from the south.
When it comes to things like food and drink, are the north and the south?
It's mommy.
From the north, they drink not alcohol. And the south, they drink.
Uy, punta pa rin eh.
The next stop
Uy,
in
mami.
Mommy.
Lighthouse Street on Coco.
WWE's Most Wanted Treasures.
When the value comes again.
Tumatay sa inyo yung pusa? Sa kaya
It's
tumatay?
been snowing for several hours. The temperature is
Sa inyo?
minus 8 degrees
Wala
Celsius.
rin?
Not only extremely uncomfortable, but dangerous too. The snow can cause the fresh concrete to freeze instead of hardening. This will lead to cracks forming later on. Because of this,
Arden, punta rin. C2.
Hindi.
She will not be in the way. You can't leave her here.
Keep tatay sa C2.
You'll come back a multimillionaire.
Given to Sinai for support of UST and pinagmamalawak yung kalaman ng ating mga stakeholders who is the UST. So ano ginagawa ng UST? Doon sa kanya hindi ako makawala ng ganito puso ng banan na host of UST and everything from Sinai.
Mula dito sa Cagayan de Oro City, ito si Chelsea Belera, SMNI News.
Abangan, Police Brigadier General Matthew Bakay, ibinida ang mga pangunahing prioridad bilang bagong pinuno ng PRO3. Boracay, dinagsa ng mga turista noong Oktubre. Blessing and turnover ceremony ng Multipurpose Evacuation Center sa Surigao del Sur, ginanap. Sa balita sa labas ng bansa, Crown Prince ng Dubai, nagpagkita sa hari at reyna ng Netherlands. Sa balitang pagkalakasan, Jordan Poole gumawa ng 31 points para sa panalo ng Warriors laban sa Hornets. Yan at marami pang balita sa pagbabalik ng SMNI News Blast.
Walang kabuhan. Kaya sa inyo, importante. Yung naumpisahan ko, tapusin. Mga bagong highway, kulay, trend, dapat na-enjoy na kagad ng mga tao yan. Kailangan lahat bakulado at laging may ayuda pag kailangan. Huwag dapat makabalik ang mga drug roads para ligtas ang pamilya. Yung ginawa mo mga shopping centers, maganda yan. Pagamihin mo pa, magkasama tayo. Tayo nagsimula, tuloy-tuloy lang po.
Narito na ang programang susubok at susukat sa mga kandidatong nais pagsilbihan ng taong bayan. Sa lahat, karapat dapat naman, oras na para magkaalaman at makas matubag sa mga lingkod ng bayan. Susukatin at alamin natin ang kakayahan ng mga kandidato. Sila ba ang karapat-dapat
Blue.
karapat-dapat ka ba? Dito sa SMNI. Sa Handala 2022, mapapanood Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 9:30 ng gabi. Kasama si Pimping Pinoy. Dito lamang sa SMNI. Talakaya sa iba't ibang issue ng bayan. Mga may init na usaping dapat malaman ng taong bayan. Sa programa,
Ganado na ang panahon sa mga...
I am the law.
na pinapansin. So sa amin po, Igos, Jeep!
교수님에게 총 60개 주가 주셨습니다. 합니다. Is there any way that global warming can be limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius?
Well, I think this has been a long week, Lee, and it's becoming clearer to me.
And it sounded interesting. So I decided to go along to see it.
Social distancing measures have gotten better, and the media art show is on again. We came out to see it. Visitors can enjoy the lights and media art of the majestic cultural asset until November 14th.
Well, digital media meeting a traditional artifact, that's just wonderful to see. Beautiful. But I hear music festivals are no longer just held online. Those are also going offline as well.
That's right. The 18th Tarazan Jazz Festival, the country's biggest such festival, is going to kick off its 3-day schedule starting November 5th, which is tomorrow. Under the first phase of the country's gradual transition to normal life, concerts and festivals held at non-regular performing art facilities should get permission from the local government and the culture ministry to accommodate more than 500 guests. As the Tarazan Jazz Festival organizers got official approval, this will be the first large-scale in-person music concert under the living with COVID-19 measures. It is scheduled to have around 2,000 fans on site, and all of them either should be fully vaccinated or present a recent negative COVID-19 test results. Visitors should sit at their assigned seats and have their masks on. As exciting as it seems to be, it's also a little worrisome as we should all take extra careful hygiene measures there. Now, who's included in the lineup? Well, the festive...
Super.
About 50% of the water. And that means you're literally saving thousands of...
think that an adventure...
Food, but also submitting to use a in an orca form of homeschooling.
I found that there were 900 references to government reports.
company called Vattenfall, and the ground is owned by the Welsh Government. There's 76 turbines here, and let's...
But it sits between giants China and India, two of the world's biggest polluters. Its topography also makes it more vulnerable to overall shifts in global weather. Nepalese in rural communities are frustrated and say what's happening to them is not their fault, that it concerns everyone. And countries like Nepal should not be left alone to put out fires being fueled on a global scale. Zaid Basravi, Al Jazeera, the Melamchi River in Nepal. South African writer has won the Booker Prize for the best English language novel.
It's The Promise by Damon Galgut.
Damon Galgut, who wrote his first book at the age of 17, has been nominated 3 times, but he finally took this prestigious prize home with the novel The Promise, a cutting depiction of a white family in post-apartheid South Africa.
Seeing as the good fortune's fallen to me, let me say, this has been a great year for African writing, and I'd like to accept this on behalf of all the stories told and untold, the writers heard and unheard from the remarkable continent that I'm part of.
A decade, and that's despite economic uncertainties as nations continue to fight COVID-19. As the sector evolves to meet keen market interest in high-end property investments, MediaCorp and Shopping Guru are collaborating on a virtual real
I've been immunized.
Yeah, and if you finish the work, and you spent a lot of time doing this yesterday, and I honestly spent a lot of time doing it when I first found out that Aaron Rodgers was unvaccinated. You could take it a couple different ways. You could take that, as him taking stock of...
Hello.
Did you order something?
Yes, a bottle of wine.
No. Some wine.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Your husband sent us here.
Don't hurt him! Please stop!
With a blonde man, little boy.
I'm telling you to stop! Leave him alone!
Dude, we gotta go back to selling second-hand spare parts. We're making...
Sustainable future, the whole process.
And if nothing else, Section 31 will find a way to track you.
Tulong ba sa ating mga kababayan?
It's also expensive.
Very expensive, I agree.
Why?
Continues to get better. I think it will get better even more. And in general, it's a little...
He's got to put Chenru down at this point. Because Chenru was so doing some hot. I might need
Look, 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 look.
I'm checking down.
Thanks for watching. Bye. Like and subscribe.